Hey guys, it's Lindsay with Fiber Seed, and welcome to the Fiber Seed Podcast. Yay! It's episode 1, and I am super excited about this. So let's just dive in because I have honestly no idea how long this is going to take because it's my first time. Anyway, a little bit about myself. I have been dyeing yarn as a thing that I make money at for 8 years now. And for 6 years, I have been doing it as a full-time job, as well as my husband, Jordan, doing it as a full-time job. If I refer to him as Jordan, I also refer to him as Mr. Fiber Seed. He was given that name after going to a couple of shows. So here we are, Mr. Fiber Seed and me. Anyway, we have been doing this now for 6 years, and it has been such a wild ride. And it all started because I learned to knit. Yeah. So, I learned to knit a while ago. Now, it didn't seem so long ago, but now it is. It was 12 years ago. I learned how to knit 12 years ago, guys. That is crazy pants. Anyway, so I learned to knit 12 years ago, and I did it because I had moved to a new place, and I had no cable, and I was waiting to find out whether or not I had a job or not. So I needed something to do, and lo and behold, I somehow, for some reason, put my grandmother's knitting needles in a box with a bunch of yarn. Granted, some of it was fun fur, but we're not going to talk about that. It has its place. Anyway, yeah, so that's what my story started as, and I basically fell down the rabbit hole. I learned how to knit off of VideoJug. It was a YouTube knockoff, and I don't know that it's even around anymore, but that's how I knit. I basically hit pause and play until I figured out what I was doing. And after that, since I had nobody there was nobody to tell me what was hard, what was easy, and I just kept doing stuff. And I loved it so much that I decided to get a job at a craft store. Just kidding, I needed a job. Anyway, but it fueled my love for yarn, and from there on, I could try to talk while I'm drinking, but that would end up very badly. Anyway, from then on, I was hooked. And then I moved. That was only 6 months, guys. That span was 6 months long. Anyway, moved back to Florida because that's where I'm from. Tampa, born and raised. Until now, because now I live in Ohio. But more on that in just a second. Anyway, we moved back and I continued to work at a craft store. And then one fateful day, a yarn shop owner walked in looking for ornament balls for a class. And I helped her and she talked about it and I'm like, that sounds like fun. I've never taken a class before. So I took the class. And then a couple weeks later, I took another class. And then I put in my application at the same time as the idea of, hey, she really likes this. Maybe I should see if this works out. And that was Carolyn of the Knit Nipple. And I turned it in the day before she had suggested, hey, maybe you should fill out an application. And from there on, I basically was immersed in the yarn world. I learned to crochet so that I could help people at clinic and figure out all their problems with their patterns, and I love doing that, by the way. Also love untangling yarn. Don't ask me why, but I do. Anyway, so, yes, hi, I'm Lindsay. I love to untangle yarn. Send me your yarn. I'll untangle it for you. No, really, don't send it to me because I have barely enough time to fall asleep. But anyway, I enjoy untangling yarn. That was so off the wall, but guess what? Not cutting it. Anyway, I started teaching there. I became an office manager, and then I decided, with her prompting, to start dyeing yarn as a business because I had been dabbling with it, and I brought in some of the stuff I'd done, and she said, have you ever thought about selling this for real? And I was like, not really. Anyway, I did. And that was my first shop that I sold to. And since then, that was in 2012, I have been in shops all over the U.S. There's a shop that carries our yarn in Germany, which is crazy awesome. Anyway, but that is my journey. I am happy about where we are now. It's been definitely a struggle owning our own business and that being the main source of our income. But I wouldn't change this journey that we've had any other way, because I have gotten to see so many people create so many amazing things out of the yarn that I've dyed. So without further ado, I'm going to look at my notes because I need help. There we go. Okay, so we're back. I didn't go anywhere, and I'm not cutting that out, so so anyway, what we're going to do is I am going to go down my list of Q projects, which means there are some I might never get to, but we're not talking about my Ravelry queue because that's even longer than what I wrote down. I have plans to make a wool wardrobe for the entire family of 4 because I have 2 kids. One is 6 on Saturday and one is 2 on Sunday. Yeah, that's right. I had my kids 4 years apart by 1 day. Also, oh yeah, fun fact. When we decided that it was time to make the fiber seed full-time, my son was a month old. Yeah, that's a leap of faith, let me tell you. But back to this wool wardrobe, guys. So I have not knit my son a sweater in a couple of years, and that is sad. And I have not knit Jordan a sweater in a couple of years. So I am going to fix that. I'm going to make them a flax sweater each. Not one for them to share. I don't know which colors I'm going to pick yet. I might let them pick them out. Probably going to do that so they'll actually wear them because, you know, knitting time is not that long. So I can't be like, yeah, I'll knit this and nobody wears it, whatever. But anyway, Flax is by ADVENTuresome. It's a great free pattern and it is easy to follow. So I'm excited about that. For myself and Miss P, that is Penelope. She's the 2-year-old. She and I have already kind of done a mommy and me thing with, she has her mini Magpie. The pattern is by Ellie Alexander-Loomis of Skinanigans. And so she has one. And then I have one that is the V-neck Magpie, also by Ellie. And I'll put the picture here. And if I don't, I'm going to write the thing down there. But first episode, guys, right? Anyway, we did that at Thanksgiving, and that was so much fun. So why not do it again? I mean, because I've got a limited amount of time before she's like, hey, don't worry about me, Mom. Stop making stuff to match you. Anyway, so I'm going to make a So Faded and So Faded pint size for her and myself. And I think I'm going to do the colors opposite. And the So Faded is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. And I'm excited about that because I think that basically how much I will use from mine from the top to the bottom and then invert it for her will work out just fine. I'm excited about that. And that way it's not the same, it's just a little bit different. And so that's exciting. Also, Snow is Falling and Snow is Falling Junior. That's a pattern by Melissa Kemmerer. And I'll put that there. Anyway, I'm excited about that one. It's basically color work. It's got snowflakes. It's pretty. I'm excited about that. So those are the sweaters. I'll also be making her this adorable Beloved. It's a little hat with little strings. It's cute. It's also by Tin Can Knits. Might make her a Rexy sweater mini by Maison Dene. I'm excited about that too. Don't know what color I'm going to use, so I'm telling you this giant list that you might never see these things from. Hold on. This one's right here. I'm going to make a French Macaroon. It's by the Noble Thread. It's for Penelope. I've made one before for her, and I'm going to make this for her out of Penelope and Punked. And I'm excited about that one because it's been sitting on my desk in the queue with actual yarn picked out for it for a very long time. Well, not very... I've got slogs older than my child, but anyway, we can do that. And then I'm going to make her another pair of Fire and Ice pants by Gabrielle Danskknit. I made her a pair to go home in. This is why you swatch. I made her a pair to go home in when I had her. And the pants went up to under her armpits. Yeah. And in it, at her first birthday, she was wearing them. They fit properly. And I got them on her still yet when we went to the Festival of Lights a couple of weeks ago. but they were clearly not the right size at that point. So I'm going to definitely be making another pair of those for her. For me, again, this apparently is my year of sweaters. I don't know if I'll get them all done or even started, but I have ideas of what I want to do with them. Is the Henleyetta by Melissa Kemmerer, Hold Sway by Raelean Finch, Pelotoner by Sarah Wilson, Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. I had that pattern printed out. The yarn is sitting in a bag at the bottom of the bag from when I moved. So that one has been in the queue for a while and I still haven't gotten to it. Sea Salt by Laura Aylor, the Decay Shawl by Christopher Salas, Tellurian by Sarah Wilson. I had the pattern and the yarn for that put aside. I'm excited about it because my yarn was inspired by a shell that Reese found outside in our garden when we first moved here to Ohio. I don't know why there was a shell in the garden. We're in Ohio. But there was, and it was pretty, and he comes running down to the studio and goes, Mommy, you have to make a colorway out of this. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, Reese has been helping me dye for as long as he's been able to walk. He used to put his heads in my empty buckets and scream into them because it would resonate because they were metal pots. But he just loves bringing me little things from outside, from nature, like bringing me leaves and stuff. And he's like, Mom, this would be a great colorway. So, you know, he's turning 6 and he's like, I'm ready to help, Mom. He has gloves, he has a little mask, but he's still, I don't let him do the powder, but he likes to put the mask on and act like he's doing that. So he'll tell me where he wants stuff to go, and that's how it happens right now. But I can't wait for him to do it in the future. Anyway, so the list is almost done. Thank you for sticking with me so far. Glacier Tunic by Joji Locatelli. I'm so excited about this. I'm going to be using Rock Creek. It's a fingering weight tunic, and that's my style. I like to wear longer tops because I have a shorter torso, so it elongates my figure and it makes me more proportionate to my ridiculously long legs. Like, my legs are as long as my husband's, and he's 6 inches taller than me. So anyway, but you work with what you got, and you love it. There's also the Kid You Not sweater by Melissa Kemmerer, and then Nurtured by Andrea Mowry. And I have written a lot of stuff. The Grotine by Carolyn Dick. Excited about that. Virus shawl. Forgot to put the person's name on there. How about that? That was horrible. But it's on Ravelry. It's a free download. And if you type in virus shawl, it pops up. The Adventuresome wrap by Ambah O'Brien. I'm going to use my year 1 of the advent calendar that we did this past year to make one. And I think that I'm going to be putting like charcoal or something with it. I don't know. I want to get a neutral in there so that it really just makes all the colors pop as they go by. If you have a side note, if you have an advent calendar that you don't have a pattern for, that's a great pattern. Another great pattern, if you like, it's chromatic, even if it's not, it's pretty, is the Seedlings Greetings by Ellie, Alexander-Loomis. It's really pretty. I'm just saying. All right, we're almost done here. Ready? The Party Top by AbbyeKnits. I have the yarn put aside. It is wound. I should have started it like 3 projects ago, and I have not, and I feel bad. But it's 3/4 length. It's Decay, and I'm excited about it. And then this one is great. It's called the April Tank Top by Carolyn Day. And I am looking forward to doing that for summer because summer does not last 10 months like it did in Florida. Technically 12 with like maybe a 2-week in there that is cold. But here, summer is something you take in quickly because it's not going to be around very long. So I will be knitting away on that really fast. So anyway, that is my cue for this year, guys. Hold me to it. Don't hold me to it. But that is it. So let's talk about stuff that I have carried over. Not all of them because 12 years, guys. But stuff that I've carried over as a whip into this new year. First up, because it's the one that I have gotten not the farthest along on, but I've been knitting on actively for the past couple days. Although I haven't gotten very far because Guys, I was looking in the wrong spot. How about that? Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. This is kind of special to me, okay? Because the color is Deep Cerulean, and it is the first solid that I ever made from when I started back in 2012. And then the color I'm putting it with it is Festival of Lights. Isn't that pretty? But this was my first colorway when I moved to Ohio. So it was named after the festival that they have in Cincinnati at the Cincinnati Zoo, where they just basically they put lights everywhere in the zoo, and it's just so pretty. You go at night, and we went this past year, and it was lovely. But anyway, so the pattern I'm using is the Appalachian Trail Tee by Rachel Compton, who is Kentucky Knits on Instagram. The pattern is really well written because Kate Howland did the work on it, which means it's easy to read, and you can check stuff off, including the repeats. It's fantastic. This is there it is, see? It's a great little elbow length, and you probably make it shorter if you want. It has a little bit of color work in it, not too much, because I am one, and I know my strengths, and I know my weaknesses, and right now my tension on my color work is not fantastic the longer it gets. So this is the year of stretching my skills. But right now the pattern goes from a 31 to a 47, and there is a note on the pattern page on Ravelry about size inclusivity. She's working currently on expanding the size availability, and she said, in the meantime, if you like this pattern and you don't see your size on there, then just contact her and she will run the numbers for you so that you have a pattern that you can knit from. So I thought that was great, because, you know, why do something you see and you can't make? Not fair. So Deep Cerulean, Festival of Lights, Sprout Sock. I have had so much fun so far. I'm already... Those are my armholes, my mouth, I swear. I think the longer that I go, the more silly I'm going to get, because I'm going to be like, oh, the word, it's right there in my brain, but I don't remember what it is from my mouth to work. Anyway, that's just me, guys. Do you see this? I don't know how I'm going to... There we go. Look how tiny it is. Anyway, this is from Ann Tudor. It's a little sheep. She also has sheep butt markers, guys. It's funny. They're glass. They're fantastic. And my kid threw the package on the ground when I got it, and they made it, which was amazing. So, anyway, that's my first whip. Am I going down my list in order? Nah, so my list isn't even helping me right now. I'm just going to start grabbing stuff. So you remember that virus shawl that I forgot the person who made it? That's horrible of me. I'm going to put it right here. And if I don't, it's going to be somewhere around here. It's a free download. It is, the English version of it is this chart, but it's right here. And charts, honestly, are not that horrible. I don't mean horrible. They're great, actually. They're fantastic, especially when you don't need really, I mean, to the point of there are some differences in the actual symbols, but this is more universal than, you know, having written instructions. Because for me personally, in crochet, there sometimes in my brain, I don't know why, there's like this wiggle room of like me reading it wrong, and that one stitch goes funny. Anyway, I'm going to use Polar Vortex. I should probably have had a hank for it, but I've already wound it up. Polar Vortex in Sprout Decay. I think this pattern calls for fingering, but I want it a little bit bigger. So I'm using the Decay. I'm crocheting it. I'm going to enjoy it because it looks pretty, and once you get going, that's what you're doing. I've seen it knit up in this, so I'm cheating because I know how it's going to look. It's going to look cool. But that is that. Got that. Alright. Now, you didn't really hear socks on my list of the queue. It's not that I don't like socks. It takes me such a long time to knit them. I don't know why. I can crank out like everything else so much faster than this. So this sock, which I'm excited about because I have a big foot, guys. Anyway, I am almost ready to go up the cuff. This pattern is amazing, by the way. It is Pebbles and Pathway by Marceline Smith. Hey Brownberry on Instagram, and actually all the places now, I think. Anyway, there is a cable here. There we go. Cable. There's some pearl bumps. That's very tactile. I like that. I put some slip stitching on the back because I've got a really long, narrow foot, and it ends up, when I don't do this, my socks get wiggly, and I could probably decrease stitches and do it that way, which makes a lot of sense. But anyway, I enjoy this pattern. It's very well written. It's very calming, and I enjoy it. I pull it out from time to time. I've got this little marker from Itty Bitty Delights. It's a little pumpkin pie. It's cute. That's how I check my progress. I'll put that in when I start. I'm in the wrong place again, guys. Put that in when I start, and that way I can see how far I've gotten each time. So, I like this. It's done in Interstellar. It's Sprout Sock. Interstellars are kaleidoscopes, so you can see how our kaleidoscopes knit up in a sock form. But I'm excited about that. I'm going to finish these this year. Because this is also supposed to be a sample sock when not in use. Because the yarn's very durable. Our yarn is 100%. It's 100% U.S. wool, but it's a 90-10 blend. There we go. It's a washable wool. It's a blend we've gotten made for us here in the United States out of U.S. wool. So, everything's domestic. Anyway, these are not colors that I carry. This slog has been going since before I had Penelope. Actually, I was working on that. Slog is slow-going project. Slow-going whip. You guys, it's the Perfect Crop Top by Teresa Gregoria. And you see this? I mean, I'm wearing this. There. See, I'm almost done, guys. It was something for me. At the time, I didn't have a lot of excess yarn that I could just do something for myself without it being a sample or something like that. And so I just had some stuff that I'd been playing with, although I really like this one, and I really wish I remember what in the world I did to get it. But this is the prototype for Indian corn, which has since way changed. But anyway, I put some stripes in this, and the pattern's written really well, so that you can excuse me, adjust this stuff, so that you can have it solid, or you can do the stripes, or you can do color work in it if you want. Sorry, I don't know if I drink pretty looking, but anyway, I have a pattern somewhere, but I found my little notebook. And basically it's my little checkbox thing, see? So I wrote down like what, and I don't do this for everything, but it's good that I did it for this because, y'all, Penelope's almost 2, and I found out I was pregnant and then stopped working on it. Although I could have worn it. I mean, just crop top, belly, yeah, anyway. So I wrote down all the stuff and had check marks, so I know exactly where I am in the pattern, which makes me really happy because, honestly, had I not done that, I wouldn't know where I was, and this would be ripped out, sadly. Anyway, that's my other whip. I will finish that this year. You hold me to it. Oh. Ready? I'm excited. Look at this bag. It's an Erin Lane bag. Oh, there we go. Erin Lane. Love it. I just love the nope. Nope. Anyway, I'm making, finally, because this has been in my queue forever, like, predating any whip, you know, that I have here. Breathing Space by Vera Balamaki. I'm excited. I'm finally doing it. And I picked up my yarn. It's definitely different than what I had started out thinking I was going to do. Because both of these are new colors. But I swatched. I used Golden Age, which is our first color of 2020. So it's the January color of the month. I swatched. Look at that. I'm so proud of myself. I don't know why. I should have swatched for everything, but I just recently started swatching for most things, especially fingering weight, because what a designer sometimes uses to get a gauge is not what you use to get gauge. So watch, guys. Anyway, this is what I got on a 5. I got about 24 stitches to an inch-ish, depending on, you know, the tension at the time. But this is a kaleidoscope, so you can see how it doesn't have a distinct patterning like our half speckles. So this is the Golden Age, and that's going to be my multicolor and my solid. Guys, I'm super excited about this. Cameo. Look at that. Still looking in the wrong spot, guys. Bear with me if I keep looking at you and then away from you. Normally when I talk to people, I look like at them for a second, and then in my brain I have to like focus elsewhere for my brain to work. Otherwise I kind of like space out while looking at them. Anyway, this, oh, for days. This is the twisted rib. Look how far I am, guys. Ooh. Anyway, I'm enjoying it. Another Tudor stitch marker. Look at this. It's a little cupcake. I got it for my birthday one year. I bought myself cupcakes, but this one lasted, so. I'm also using a end minder. Yeah, why do I keep doing that? Alright, an end minder from Crafty Flutterby. It's really cool. And I bought some the last time I saw her. More of them because they're good. I normally would wrap the yarn around my fingers and then kind of wrap it around that, and then, you know, it'd be like that little pile of rope that you'd see on a boat. But then in the bag, it'd move around, and then it'd be long and get tangled, and yeah, so this is amazing. Anyway, I'm at the neck. I looked up pattern notes from a lot of people who have made the breathing space in the past, because like I watched Hey Brownberry, Marsh Smith. She had made 2 of them, and so I got to see them, and I saw that she had made some pattern alterations for it to work for her. So I went and looked at everybody else's, and the consensus was people liked German short rows versus wrap and turns. So I have that to try. Also, because my wrap and turns can be sloppy at times, and we don't want that, right? Also, I saw that there was like a lot of people took out increases in certain spots, so I need to look at the pattern and how that's all going to work out. Maybe I will remove them, maybe I won't, I don't know. Either way. Also, another note, probably should have done this in stripes, but I know it's going to be pretty. And if it's not, I think it's pretty, so I'm wearing it. But anyway, I'm excited about that. Cameo, basically is inspired by the little cameo brooches from back in the day. They would have that background color, and I just thought it was so pretty, but I kind of zhuzhed it up, and here we are. So that is another whip that I'm working on. I probably won't do that one unless like the kids are napping, because I mean, once I look at the pattern and see the short row, how it works, I might be able to like keep track of it by looking at it. But if it's something that I need to follow the pattern on very strictly to keep myself on track, I probably won't be doing that if they are around me, because 2 and 6. Anyway, that is my breathing space. So, my next whip, Shelly Summer Top by Nancy Ricci, of Getting Pearly with It. I'm so excited about this because this is the front and this is the back, which means I am almost done. I didn't start this. I started this later in the season. It's in Sprout Decay in the Bee's Knees. I'm really crushing on this color lately. It's in a couple of almost going to be in my queue projects. Like I picked the yarn out first and I haven't picked a project out. Yeah, I still do that. Anyway, I'm so excited about this because I think I can layer it just as well as wearing it by itself in the summer. Like it with the long sleeve. Anyway, I'm excited. It's so pretty. I have done some of Nancy's patterns in the past. The My Boy Lollipop sweater is a crop sweater, and she writes patterns so that you can adjust them to what you feel comfortable with, because she's all about being body positive. Yes, that's the word. Guys, I swear my mouth. Anyway. I've been drinking on this cup this whole time. This is our custom designed poly mugs, and we're gonna have these in 6 different glazes, and I love it. And it's microwavable and dishwasher safe. So my sound, that's Penelope. We're not gonna edit that out. This is the 3rd time I've done this. On to the finished objects, because I don't know how much time I'm actually taking, but I think I've already done 30 minutes, guys. How about that? I thought I was only going to have a 20-minute show. But anyway, look, I finished something. Penelope's stocking. It took me up to this year. I started this, like, her first Christmas was last year. And we had just moved, and I hadn't started it, and I was like, oh yeah, I can whip up a stocking, no problem. It's gonna be really simple. I got this far, and she had one of those little tiny stockings that you don't know how you ended up getting one, but you did, and that is what she had. So I was reminded lovingly by Reese and Jordan that I needed to do it. So I pulled it back out and I was like, hey, yeah, what was I doing? And oh, by the way, her name is 8 letters long. What was I thinking? Anyway, so because it was 8 letters long and I was looking at an Anne Norling chart for stockings, I realized that the pattern as written was not wide enough to put her name on it. It wasn't even wide enough if I shortened the letters. So here we are with the stocking that is super duper wide and short. But I used sprout worsted. I used like size 4 needles to make it tight, because knitted stockings stretch. You should probably line them. I have not yet. I did weave all the ends in. Look at that. Reese's stocking is 6 years old. It's a, I was very proud of myself. It was my first intarsia. It has a little penguin on it with a pom-pom. All the ends inside, not woven in at all. Anyway, I should probably do that one year. Like, Merry Christmas, you got nothing, but your stocking is completely done. That would go over like a lead balloon. Anyway, this is her stocking. It took 1 hank each of sprout worsted. And then I had some leftover, I don't remember where this was from. I think it was from one of Jordan's sweaters. It might have been like 25 yards of natural in sprout worsted, and I duplicate stitched it on there. So I'm excited that I finished it. I'm excited that it hung up there all night with stuff in it and did not fall off the mantle. And it is done. So now for next year, I have the plans to knit myself a stocking and knit Jordan a stocking, because our stockings are the ones we got when we first got married, with like the cross stitches on there is precious, but the stocking was like $1 and the felt is falling apart, and yeah. So we're getting these next year with our names on them. My other FO is my boxy worsted. Ooh, I'm gonna stand up, guys. Ready? Look. So, Ellie, Alexander-Loomis, was making one last year. Yeah, it's last year. Okay, so she was making one last year. And I was like, oh man, yours is knitting up so fast. I'm gonna do this. And I even dyed this color, right? This color didn't exist last year. It's, my mind went blank. Hold on, it's rolling around in there. It'll come back. I'm gonna take a drink while I wait. Alright, it's called Briar Rose. It was inspired by this basically thorny, and I've come to learn it was a blackberry bush. I've got this all over my property. Isn't that amazing? The birds get to them before I can. Anyway, I saw this bush outside of my dye studio window, and it had this purple hue to it, and I was like, that's so cool. And that inspired this, even though it was not a briar rose or a rose or anything like that. This is briar rose. This is sprout worsted. This was a comfort because I did the seamless version. You have a seamed and a seamless version. Worsted boxy, Hohi Locatelli, amazing designer. Anyway, seamless version. I basically was knitting this giant tube for a while, not because it takes long, but because it was just up and down. It'd be in my bag, not in. I'd take it on a drive or whatever, and that's how it got done. I did this portion at the DMV. BMV. They call it a bureau here. We called it department. Anyway, either way, I sat there forever and I knit this whole front section. And then I ripped it out because I wasn't paying attention and did the wrong side. But then I knit it again. That's how long I was there. It's not a big department. Yeah. Anyway, so I finished this. I could have worn this for New Year's Day, so it wasn't a complete year whip. But it was too hot outside. Can't say that often here in Ohio in the winter. It was too hot. But I love this thing. It is so squishy, soft, and it's keeping me warm, right? So, I'm excited that I finished this. Hopefully, none of my sweaters this year actually take me that long. I honestly hope that I finish all of my sweaters that are whips. Luckily, most of them were crop tops. But hopefully I finish all of those that I started prior to this year. This is my plan. And the ones I started. And hopefully I get into more than what I started this year, because I'd love to have, I don't know, a sweater a month. That might be too much to ask. Anyway, on to more immediate gratification knits. I was watching the Yarnhoarder Podcast, and I follow her on Instagram, and I saw that she was making hats. And then I saw My Desire on Instagram. That's her name. She's making hats. And I'm like, wait a second. How are they making all these hats? And then I realized, as I'm watching, it's a Addy king size. And then I see that, and I'm like, wait a second. I've got one. So I looked on YouTube and found the Yay for Yarn channel. She has a knit a hat in 30 minutes video. And so basically I had that on while I was cranking it. And anyway, what I found, this was the first one I did. I was just grabbing because I have worsted everywhere. The idea of knitting hats for charity is amazing. And this makes it even more amazing because I literally made this in 25 minutes, guys. 25 minutes. It is, there we go. So it's got this little bit here. And this is the trial and error of knitting this. I did 65, hold on, ready? I did 65 rounds for this, and 65 of this, so it's reversible. So that's pretty cool, right? You knit the tube, and then you cinch both ends, and then you sew them together, basically. So 65 gave me that. I have a larger head. It's because my noggin is big inside, right? I don't use all of it, whatever. So that is what gives me this. And I mean, it's not like a knitted hat on needles. It's not going to be as tight of a gauge, but it's warm. We've worn these outside to test it out, to see how it works, and using sprout worsted. And I mean, it looks big, but because you've got it double lined, it covers all the holes, and it's really warm. And this is it's 4 layers over your ears. So, anyway, that's 65. I tried 55 the next time. Okay. 55 the next time to see how it would fit on, you know, like Reese's head, child's. And that fits perfectly. So 55 rounds on either side. So it'd be 110. I can math fast. 110 for total for a child. And then like maybe 120, I think. Like that. For an adult size head. But if you want the slouchy look, 130 would work. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So, now here's the fun thing. I knit Jordan a hat. This isn't the funny part. I knitted him a hat, and it is somewhere in this house, or I don't know where. We moved up here, and he had it, and he lost it somewhere in the first, like, month. And I knit it so it matched his dad, the hat I made him. So I haven't knit him something since because I was kind of a little sore about that. So anyway, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be neat if I knit a father-son hat thing for him and Reese? And so what I did here was I used the leftover, I think this is charcoal from Jordan's and his dad's hats. And then this is actually a colorway that Jordan dyed like 4 or 5 years ago when we were testing stuff out. He's like, let me do one. I'm like, sure, whatever. And I held on to it. We ended up not using it because it wasn't easily repeatable. But I was like, I'll make something out of it someday. And so I made this. And so Jordan's been using this one. And Reese's, basically, it doesn't have this. I started out the project with this color for the size hat. And then got to here and ran out. And I was like, well, I don't want to use the other gray one because I don't know if I'll ever finish the other hat the right way. So that it even looks the same, which they don't, so what did it matter? But I knew I had a full hank of this color here, so I put that there. So anyway, so they had their father-son hat, and I thought it was nice. Anyway, I'm going to be making, I've got them laid out all over the floor in front of the camera. I'm going to be making some charity hats for donating around this area. And yeah, so I'm excited. So there is that project, my FO. I mean, guys, 20 minutes. 25 for this size. But 20 minutes for the other one. I mean, like, I cranked it. So basically, I put the kids in the bathtub. I sat on the floor next to the bathtub with the machine there. And I cranked it out while I was sitting there with them. So they're just playing and whatever. And I mean, I did get some water on me, but whatever. You know. Looking the wrong spot again, guys. Sorry. But it was 20 minutes. And so that was fun. But anyway, that is all I have to show you right now. That was a lot. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I'm excited about the next one. I think I'll be doing this, and we'll see how it works. Every 2 weeks. It might be once a month. Who knows? But I know that I will be making between now and then, so there'll be some progress. I'm excited. I hope you had fun. I don't know how to end this, so I'm just going to say